Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or indeed if you're new, welcome. Thanks for coming along, thanks for subscribing. Please do share with your friends. Let's get more subscribers. And if you are a YouTuber yourself, then come along and join us on the Small YouTuber Army page on Facebook. It's to help promote and support smaller YouTubers. So, hashtag Small YouTuber Army. Whoop, whoop. Tonight's video is going to be a slightly different slant on things. Sorry you're going to hear traffic noises, but it's too warm to close that window. I want to talk about generalised anxiety disorders in adults because that is what I suffer with myself. So, obviously, I am not an expert, but I've got some facts here, or a little bit of info, and then I'll get into my own experience. And hopefully this lovely iPhone SE will not mess up and stop. So let's get going. So basically, everybody at some point in their life has anxious feelings, whether it's about an exam, driving test, travelling, worrying about a job interview, doing videos, things like that. But some people find it harder to control the level of anxiety that they have, and it sometimes becomes more consistent, and it can affect their daily lives. Now, the main symptoms of severe or several symptoms of anxiety are panic attacks, panic disorders. You can become agoraphobic. You might be claustrophobic. It can be the extreme form, like if you've been in the army, for example, you could have PDSA, or you could go down the line of having social phobias where, like, going to a concert or something or getting on public transport is just not for you. So obviously there's varied differences in anxiety. But what I want to talk to you about is generalised anxiety disorder. Now, for people that suffer with that, this is just a bit of background that I've got. I'm reading it here from my laptop, and then, as I say, I'll go on to talking of my own experience. So what it's saying is that most days people with generalised anxiety disorder will feel extreme anxiety, and the smallest of things is a real struggle to them. They feel like they can't relax at all. That relaxation stage is really hard to get to. You might think, such and such was making me feel anxious. That's all resolved now. Thank God for that. It's over and done with. But because it's a disorder, it's not just a case of getting a little bit anxious, like me thinking, oh my God, I've got a driving test tomorrow, I feel anxious, but that's just going to happen, it'll be over. It's the tiniest little things, you know what I mean? And I'll get into my own experience in it. So, you have obviously psychological symptoms and you have physical symptoms. The physical symptoms are mostly lack of concentration, trouble sleeping, feeling restless and worried, feeling dizzy, lightheaded, heart palpitations. Some people even end up with digestional problems because the anxiety, see this whole curling on me, is quite severe. So, the advice here for when to see your GP is saying, although you may have the feelings of anxiety at certain times, which is obviously completely normal, if the anxiety is affecting your daily life and causing you to be distressed, that's the alarm bells telling you it's time to go and seek some help. Obviously, a lot of people with any mental health don't want to admit to it, but if you can admit to it in time, get the help you need, it can be managed better. And sometimes for people, you might never have a relapse of it again, or maybe it's just something that you'll learn to deal with in a better manner. So, more facts on that. What causes it? It's not understood as to why. Obviously, everyone's different. You know, some people might have been physically or mentally abused in their life. They might have been bullied. They might have had a loss. You know, so these factors also factor into why you could get depressed, or such likes. But then you might just be someone that has had nothing seriously dramatic happen to you, but it might just be all the little things, or it could just be part of your personality. It happened to me a few years ago in my 30s, and I'll get into my story as I say. So, research has suggested that there are many factors that play in is overactivity in the brain, which involve emotions and behaviour, an imbalance of the brain chemicals, the serotonin and noradrenaline, which are involved in controlling the regulations of your mood, genes that you inherit from your parents, and then it says you're estimated to be 5 times more likely to develop generalised anxiety disorder if you have a close relative with the condition. Now, as far as I'm aware, my mum passed away in 2013, and as far as I'm aware, she didn't have anything. I would say my dad does suffer with some slight form of depression, but he would never admit it. And I definitely think he has anger issues, because he gets, he's such a diva and he gets so riled up, but I'm not going to get into him. So, having a history of stressful or traumatic experiences, as I was just saying, such as domestic violence, child abuse, bullying. Having a painful long-term health condition, such as, say, arthritis or MS, things like that. A history of alcohol or drug abuse, because obviously these things do not contribute well to your mental health. Who is affected? It says 5% of the UK population are affected, and it's slightly more women that are affected than men, and the condition is more common in people from the ages of 35 to 59. So how is it treated? It can be treated with psychological therapy, such as CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy, and I did a video on that, so I will leave a link to it at the end of this video. You can take medication, such as antidepressants, which are SSRIs, selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, but some people might not want to go down that route. And there are also things you can do or try for yourself, such as going to self-help groups, joining Facebook groups or Twitter groups, and finding people that have like-minded situations. Like, I'm on an anxiety group on Facebook. They really, really help. Exercising, stop smoking, easier said than done. Cut down on the alcohol and the caffeine intake. You can try meditation. You know, there's loads of different routes to go down. So that's basically a bit of the background on it. For myself, basically, I don't want to make this video too long, we're already at 9 minutes, but for my experience of it, I basically was at work, roasting hot day in the middle of July, and I was just roasting, and I thought, this is ridiculous. I feel like really panicky. And I thought, I know I'm not great with the heat, but what is going on? And I kept getting loads of headaches, and I was thinking to myself, I've got something seriously wrong with my head. Like, what if I've got a brain tumour or something? And such irrational thoughts. And I was like, Julie, you need to get a grip, because you're freaking yourself out here. Then I started getting chest pains, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have a panic attack or something. But I didn't want to say to anybody, because I thought they're going to think, Julie, get a grip. Like, you're getting yourself in the right state. So I carried on, and then I came home, and I thought, I don't want to say it to my dad, because We just don't have that type of relationship, and he's the type of person that really, oh Julie, get a grip, there's nothing wrong with you. So I basically came into my room and it was still playing in my mind, really, really worrying me. And then I was just in floods of tears, as if someone was like murdering me or something, like really hysterical. And then I started getting the pains in my chest and pain down my left side of my arm. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. It must be a heart attack. But this, at that point, that started happening when my dad was in his bed. And I'm like, I can't wake him up, because if I wake him up, he's going to be raging. And then he's going to be like, Julie, you're overreacting, and he won't be taking me to the hospital, and what am I going to do? And oh my God. So I eventually got to sleep, and I don't remember straight away anyway if I went back into work or not. But another time that I remember is I went up to the washing line to get my washing in, and I don't know why, but I just burst into the biggest bawling of crying ever. Like, to the extent that it was almost like going back to when I lost my mum. Just crying. And I was like, what is going on with me? All I'm doing is getting my washing in. Just ridiculous. And then I came back in, Dad's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I don't know. I honestly do not know. I was like, I just went up to get the washing in, and I can't contain myself. So I was like, there's seriously something not right with me. So I went back into work, and I was just really, really struggling. I felt lightheaded. I felt like I was going to collapse. I kept getting these chest pains. I was still getting the pain in my arms, but I wasn't saying anything to anyone, because I thought they're going to be like, stop being so ridiculous, Julie, you're clearly not having a heart attack. And then I thought, I wonder if I have a hiatus hernia, because one of the women that I work with had that, and she said that she got chest pains. And I was like, I wonder if it's that, I wonder if it's my digestion, I wonder what's going on. And the more I was diagnosing and going online and looking it up, the more I was freaking myself out. And then I was just crying hysterically with one of my fellow workmates, Cheryl. She was brilliant, she was really, really supportive. And I was like, I just feel scared, and I don't know what's going on. Everything just feels really closed in, and I just can't cope. And she was like, I really think, you need to speak to someone. So eventually I made a doctor's appointment. I never even said anything to my dad or that. And I was on day off from work. And literally the moment I woke up and got out of my bed, I could feel myself crying. And I thought, I am never going to get through not crying before I even see the doctor. So before the doctor even called me in to see her, I was hysterical. I mean hysterical, in the reception area. And she was like, oh dear, you're really not okay. So I went through and I explained to her, and I was saying the pains in my chest, the going down my arm, the irrational thoughts, blah blah blah. So she took me through, and she did me an ECG on me, and everything was fine. She was like, it's not your heart. And I was like, my heart is beating. I feel like, see the way the camera's shaking here? I was like, I feel like my heart is like going to explode. And she tested my pulse and everything, and she's like, it's absolutely fine. She was like, that's just you feeling that. I was saying, could the pains in my chest be a hernia and all the rest of it? And she was like, well, we'll look into that and all the rest of it. And I was beside myself. I was explaining all the other symptoms of feeling lightheaded and worried and just everything. So she got me to fill out this questionnaire. I don't really remember it, but I know one of the questions was like, have you ever had, are you feeling suicidal, or would you ever think of taking your own life? And at that point, I was like, yes, I would happily take my own life to not feel the way I was feeling, because I'm not going to cry, because it was just such a horrible experience, and I just did not know how to deal with it. So I filled in all the questionnaire and everything, and she was just like, by the sounds of it, she's like, I think you are suffering with severe anxiety, not just a little bit of anxiety. So she was like, she gave me beta blockers to try and control the heart rate, Obviously she'd done the ECG and that was absolutely fine, so it wasn't my heart. And then she referred me for an endoscopy, which is the camera down your throat, to see if possibly I had a hiatus hernia from symptoms. So I was signed off from work, and I was signed off for work for a long time, at least a good 2 or 3 months, I think. And I literally just, it was just the worst time ever. The beta blockers, they weren't helping at all. Excuse me. And as it turned out, they actually slowed down my heart rate so much that when I went back to another doctor, he couldn't even find a pulse on me. And I was just like, but I'm alive and I don't have a pulse, I don't understand. And he was just like, it's giving you angina symptoms, so we're going to take you off them. But then I started panicking, thinking, well, then my heart rate's going to start beating like mad, and oh my god, and all these irrational thoughts. Nightmare. So I was signed off from work, and she was saying to me, she was going to refer me for CBT therapy, but that could take up to 6 weeks. So I was waiting on that. She was suggesting, that I try going for walks and try maybe a bit of meditation, reading books, just all these different methods. Meditation did not work for me at all. All it did was see the calming music, just made me bawl like a baby. Now, obviously crying is a release, so I suppose in a way that's still good. But I literally got into this rut of, I didn't want to be on my own. I live with my dad because it's cheaper, and that's just the way it is. And I'm in my room now. I'm always in my room. I didn't want to be in my room at all because I didn't want to be on my own, because I felt terrified, but didn't know why I felt terrified. So I was sitting through with my dad. I was hardly eating. I lost 2.5 stone without trying because I just physically could not eat. And then I had my endoscopy, and it turns out I do have a hiatus hernia. So the tablets I was taking for that and the hernia, getting used to that, I was being physically sick because it was affecting my digestion. And then eventually down the line, I got put onto fluoxetine for my anxiety, and these kind of antidepressants, any kind of antidepressants, can make you ill until you get used to it into your system. So I was so ill on them. So basically every day for however many months I was being sick. I was hardly eating. I wasn't getting any sleep. I couldn't concentrate on anything. I didn't want to go anywhere, so I was starting to get agoraphobic, but I was determined that I wasn't going to become someone who wouldn't go out. I was determined. And then these tablets, they kind of numb you. So I went from crying hysterically literally every single day and being terrified to being numb, which was a horrible feeling as well, because you just wanted to cry to release it, but nothing was happening. Now, I still take fluoxetine to this day. But I am nowhere near as bad as I was. Sorry, this phone is playing up again, so I'm going to have to wrap this up, kind of. So, basically, I did CBT therapy for about 6 weeks. And as I say, there's a video on that you can check out, and it really helped me out. I took fluoxetine, and I still take it, and my anxiety has been 100 times better than it ever was. As the doctor says, I have an anxiety disorder, and I am never going to get rid of it, but obviously I've learned to manage it. I still have episodes, but nowhere near as bad as I did. I mean, one incident that I don't even know how to explain to anyone is I stay in Live Sky, and my dad went down to sit at the pier, just to watch the ferry and everything. And he said to me, why don't you go for a walk, get some fresh air? And I really didn't want to, but I was like, okay, come on, we can do this. I got up out of the car, and my body literally just would not move. It was like I was paralysed. It just physically would not move. And I just burst into tears, and I was like, oh, what's wrong with you now? Because that's the way he is. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, my body just will not move. And it was the most horrible experience. So I just got back in the car, and I was just like, oh my god, is this the way my life's going to be now, that this anxiety is going to rule my life. And another time was my friend Dawn. She was going through St Inverness, which is 2.5 hours away from Skye, and she was like, I think you should come with me, you know, you could do with a day out and everything. So we were at a shop and she went to the toilet, and I mean, she wasn't away long, and all of a sudden my anxiety kicked in and I was just panicking so much. Like, where is she? Oh my god, she's not coming back. And I've never been like that, not even as a child. So it was just such a hard thing. But I would say the things that trigger my anxiety are if I'm not feeling well, if I get too warm, which sounds mental probably to some people, but I do think a lot of it is to do with my hormones, possibly a chemical imbalance in my brain. And the doctor was saying to me, because I cared for my mum for the age of 17 until she passed away, and you know, being so strong through all that, or as strong as you can be, she thinks a mixture of things, it's all just bang and just hit me. So I wanted to just film this video because I think it's nice to share these things with others and to give you a little background on my own mental health. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gave you some insight into a anxiety disorder, and I hope you will give it a like, leave some comment. Please do subscribe because it does help to support my channel, and I will support you back. If you have a channel, just hit me up in the comments. And have a fantastic day, whatever you're getting up to. Bye. Thanks for watching.